Welcome to the Video Marketing Made Easy podcast, where we believe that video is the most powerful way to monetize your message, stand out in the market, and grow your business. I'm Josh Crandall, and here's Dallin Need. And in this podcast,
Hello.
Oh, hey.
Here is Dallin Need.
Oh man, maybe I got a little delay here, but
keep going. Keep going.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. No, so in this podcast, we talk about practical strategies that help to grow your business with video. So if you struggle with growing your audience or getting your message out to about your products and services, we're here to help you. Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about how to make a successful video. It's pretty powerful topic. I think it's pretty weighty, but we're going to tell you how to do it. And we're going to be referencing a resource today. This is obviously a podcast, but we're broadcasting this live on our YouTube and Facebook accounts. But if you go to videosupply.com, you can find this resource that I'll be referencing today, and it is called Video Supply Scripts, and that's available for download. You can use it for free. It helps you to really structure your own videos and gives you some prompts to think about what you need to outline or think about in your video creation process. So we'll be covering basically three things today. We'll be looking at a recipe for success, right? So recipe for a good video, and then what are some things you need to consider, and then the third one is defining success. And obviously, Dallin, if you want to branch out and go on to different avenues, of course we can follow you there. But basically, we're going to talk about those three things. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up that document because that's kind of where I want to start is, what is the recipe for a good video, right? So let me pull up that scripts document. And if you're watching...
Such a good resource.
Yes, it's really good. It's got Dallin's face right on the cover. And...
oh, what? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, quick side note. Yeah, go to videosupply.com/resources.
Here we go.
And you can download it for free. It's a sweet video scripting handbook for you.
Am I doing that right now, Dallin, or is that for the audience?
So that was for the audience. You can I guess literally go to the website to show them. But yeah, keep that resource and take it away. Recipe for a good video. I'm so excited.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so jumping into the to the document here. The introduction says it perfectly. It says successful videos do not happen by accident, and they really don't. I guess you could say a viral video happens by accident. I've had two friends that, growing up, I've got really good friends that have gone viral just by posting some dumb video that they did, and it's so you can go viral, but
it's usually not if you're speaking from a branding or business perspective though. You get those ones what's that lady with the Chewbacca mask, right?
Oh,
and she just does it randomly on her phone and she's laughing and it is hilarious. And then she gets picked up the news. Maybe, there's money making opportunities as a result of that. But as far as business related videos, the successful ones are always by intention and don't happen by accident. You have to design and have a recipe to it.
Very true. Yeah, so behind the scenes of every successful video, there's always a formula or a strategy that if you closely follow it, it's going to work. And really, this document, if you start getting into it, it kind of outlines that. Let's talk about, we'll briefly go over some of these things because we've talked about them in past podcasts, and I really suggest that you go, look at some of those. We dive deep into our 3 Ps, right? And we'll talk about how this is a recipe for a good video. You really need to define your purpose, you need to define your platform, and you need to define your people. So the purpose of your video is basically what you want somebody to do as a result of watching your video, right? Is it do you want to change their mind? Do you want them to buy a product? Do you want them to subscribe to your channel or something like that, right? So it's really defining, what is that goal? Even beyond that is I want to have my name more recognized, or I want to gain more viewers. So it's really defining that purpose. And then the people. So people is who's your audience really? Who are you talking to? to really be successful and to really be able to achieve your goals in your videos, you need to define who you're talking to, and that is it's very important because you need to be able to communicate with them in the way that that makes sense or resounds with them, or maybe has the jargon, the correct verbiage that they use in their day-to-day lives. And then the third part is what is the platform. So anytime you're going to create a video, you need to have this in mind of, all right, is it going to go on Facebook? Is it going to go on Instagram, LinkedIn? Is it going to be a Snapchat video or Twitter? And each of these will give you considerations on, how can you get away with maybe, tailoring an introduction or getting rid of an introduction and just getting right to the point, and then having the sales copy or the copy in that platform tell the rest of your story. So really implementing these three things. Dallin, how have you found success in outlining your purpose, people, and platform?
Yeah, it just gives me more confidence when I'm actually going to go record a video, whether I put all the planning and the scripting into it beforehand, or you do something that is a little bit less scripted, like what we're doing now, right? Whether you're listening or watching this is unscripted. We have an outline to it, and this outline is born out of hitting some clear points from a beginning, middle, and end. But the people, purpose, and platform, we found that when your videos are not working, it's often because you need to fix one of, or if not all of these three areas. And it is definitely a recipe for success. And another interesting thing too, and we kind of reference this with like the accidental viral videos that are out there, not usually the business related ones. Those ones are often viral because of paid advertising gets the initial eyes and attention. Things don't usually get picked up super organically from a business perspective. But what can go viral and be successful, I wouldn't say can go viral, but what can be successful for you from a video standpoint is when your videos easily work to help you make more money and to grow your business. And one quick little sample that I love is from a client, this is a little bit ago, a client of ours. We helped her produce a library of videos. We've supplied her with videos, video supply. And one video in particular connected so well with one person in her audience, and that translated into $15,000 in revenue. All it takes is one video and one person to really bring in significant revenue. So imagine multiplying that one person to 2, to 3, to 30,000, to more. As long as your message fits the market and the audience correctly, then it can be successful. And you don't have to have the thousands to millions of followers or audience members. You need to have the right ones. It's all about the quality of your audience versus the quantity. And I think that's the big thing to take part. Like, you go to our channels right now, the time you're listening or watching this, we may not have the influencer level following or audience, but you don't necessarily see that person's email list, which is more of those paying customers, or you don't necessarily see, like, is that person trying to get a quantity amount of customers, right? If they sell a cheaper product, or maybe it's a premium product. Most of our products are premium products, so it doesn't require us to have thousands and millions of people to buy it at a time. It only requires a select few and the quality type, or like the premium paying customers. And so judging a book by its cover, judging a brand by just what you see simply on their following number, those vanity metrics, is not representative of the success of their business and what they're experiencing. And so when you evaluate the success of a video that's done right, it may take only a few views initially to bring in a significant amount of revenue. Obviously, once you see that those few views are translating into really great revenue, you want to add a lot more effort into your distribution strategy, which makes them even more successful and can bring in even more revenue and impact. But focus first on getting the message right and in these 3 P's of the people, purpose, and platform. And you'll have the recipe for successful video.
Definitely. And, exactly what you're saying about like, I think you call them vanity metrics and things like that. Like, yeah, just because, I mean, if you've taken the time to invest the money to maybe say create a professional video, and it's not really, there's a chance that, your network or your clients or your customers come to you in person, right? Or they're a local, based audience, and they're, maybe it's a smaller town, so then maybe you're not going to get, like you said, all those metrics. However, you will have that video is going to help you really increase your traffic, your sales and stuff. So yeah, I love what you just said there. And we'll talk a little bit later about defining success and really helping you to choose like what really defines that in a minute. But yeah, thanks for sharing that example. That's amazing. $15,000 for one person. That's pretty nuts. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about, I guess, the planning to get there, right? So if you define your people, you define the platform, you define your purpose, talking about video production and the actual production, you need to make sure you've got everything in place to be able to produce that video successfully, right? So if you work with our team, here's kind of our process. We take you in, we develop your messaging, like Dallin was saying, getting a very clear message on, first your goals, but then your messaging and how you're going to speak to your audience, and putting together a list of scripts. So getting all those in place, knowing what you're going to say, knowing your purpose and your calls to action, and then getting your shot list together, being organized, and it really lends for, if you've got this very clear plan and all these things in place, it lends for a clean production and a very clean and, a video that's really going to hit the nail on the head. I'm sure we've all seen videos where you're like, all right, I just finished watching that. What was the goal here? Like, what am I supposed to do? So you really got to have a lot of things to consider there. And one of them is really a call to action. And Dallin, maybe you can jump in with some ideas for some calls to action and really what they're really meant to do. But basically you want, like I said, somebody to do something as a result for, I don't know why I'm saying revolt so much.
as a revolt.
Yeah, they're revolting.
No, I mean, revolt is good too.
Yeah. So as a result for watching your video, you want to have that, laid out very clear. And so that you can say, all right, you've watched my video, join my, or subscribe, or we want you to donate, right? If you're a not-for-profit, or, you want to make this very clear
one
for
of the
audience.
biggest, definitely. One of the biggest struggles I find content creators doing in their videos or any form of content is that you have multiple call to actions. And it's so hard, like you think of a YouTube video and people are like, subscribe, do this. And those are multiple call to actions. I think those work in the context of it's a one call to action because it's inviting them engage on this video, and you can do that engagement through liking, subscribing. But if you're trying to sell more than one product or service in a video ad or in a sales message, then you're going to leave your audience asking themselves, what is this next step? What is this next thing? And my 4-year-old just walked into the room. Hey bud, go to keep dancing with mom.
I'm
Dallin's looking very festive today. He's wearing a leprechaun hat for St. Patrick's Day.
A little bit.
It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it's St. Patrick's Day today. We're recording this, and there's no lock. Hey, bud. Hey, go hang out with mom, okay? This is the nature of being at home. You just kind of roll with it. Hey, Flynn.
Yeah, you gotta love working from home.
Thanks,
man.
bud. Hey.
Yeah.
He's got an Irish sounding name too, Flynn. I just realized that. Okay.
Yeah, and so key kid, man. Flynn.
All right, love him to death. Okay, so back to this call to action. So with having more than one call to action, you're making your customers work harder to know what they do next. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to know what is my next right step. Tell me what to do because I'm starting to trust that you have the solution to what my problem is. And so it is a lot more easier said than done. And I think that's why it's most important to give yourself some form of outline and script to the videos that your most impactful videos. Those are the ads and the sales messages that need to have a direct response to them.
Definitely. Yeah, and then let's jump into some things to consider. So like having one purpose of the video, we kind of talked about that. For me, so I've done a lot of video production, like Dallin has mentioned in the past. You know, between Dallin and I, we've have probably 20 years of combined experience of video production, and one
It's
thing,
both.
yeah,
Yeah.
experience. Uh, and for me, one of the biggest things in video creation that I found to be successful, um, well, I guess we can talk about a little about retention. So audience retention throughout the length of your video, which we'll go into a little bit more here, is what's the new information? And this is something that I really have tried to help whoever I've coached in the past. Is what new information are you presenting to your audience, right? So if there's something that needs to be repeated, or if you need to see something on the screen multiple times, that makes sense. But if you're looking for more retention in your videos, which can help, grow your business or be successful, present the viewer with new information and do it frequently. I think the average duration of, a shot nowadays on any advertisement, I mean, it's seconds. It's under 2 seconds sometimes. And it's, so you're getting hit with all these images, right after each other. And so it's keeping that mind engaged. It's keeping you focused. And so if you're just a talking head and you're just a talking head forever, you may not get the engagement that you want. Now, again, if your information is, if say your audience is a captive audience, right? So they came to you on YouTube and searched you and they want to hear from you, chances are they're going to watch you regardless, because they understand and they know and they're invested in you and your message, so they'll watch. But if you're trying to, say, up some views on Facebook or Instagram or get more people, more eyes to stay on your page longer, you need to be presenting with constantly with new information in order for them to see the relevancy there or just stay hooked, right? I mean, that's the kind of the nature of us today is
Oh yeah.
our brains have been trained to just, we want new information. And as long as you can feed an audience with that, say, and mainly again in your advertising or getting new traffic, it's so important.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Well, and to add to that too, it's the 2 seconds. Honestly, in another few months or years, it's going to be like 2 second. You have like less than a second, right? It's that first visual, that first cue. And the talking head video has its place. We've done our fair share, and you will always need it in some form because people need to see someone's face and they need to talk through a message. Usually as an ad, if people don't know who you are, you need to capture their attention as quickly as possible and stop their scroll. And that often is not best done with simply just a talking head. You need something else that can wow them and get them to stop and watch or listen to the rest of the message. And I think there's a lot of power with that. And think of it like you are putting together the ultimate action movie. It's not like you need like an action camera following you around, but it's like Jason Bourne from those movies, the Bourne Ultimatum, the Bourne Supremacy. What was the first one?
Legacy. Oh,
I can't remember the first movie.
Identity.
Legacy.
Yeah.
There, something like
Identity.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Identity. There we go. But something that really I feel like started with those movies was the shaking cam, which is one. I think people were literally getting sick in the theater. But two was they didn't stay on the same shot for more than a few seconds.
Yeah.
And they're switching from shot to shot. It can be disorienting based on how it's done, but I think it worked well in that format. As you think about that,
Hey, this is gonna be part 2 here. Let's see here. Guest in guest room. You're in my guest room, Dallin. How do we get you back in here? Add to the room.
Well, you can keep going without me. Hey, there we go.
Yeah,
We're back
okay.
on.
Shoot.
Got booted off. Oh no.
Yeah, I got booted. Here we go.
So to continue on, just with that final thought.
Yeah.
If someone already knows you and they're starting to like your brand, love your brand, and show that they trust you, if they're on your website or if they're learning about a product, the style and the production approach can be very simple and can be simply just a talking head video that presents them with information, or a tutorial video, because they're not there for all of the bells and whistles. They're there for the value of the message itself or of the training itself. And so for that reason, the creativity and the approach should be.
So yes, third time's a charm. So length of your videos should be something to consider as well. And really a good gauge on this is to ask yourself, would I watch this video, right? So if you're creating content that is lengthy or boring, well, first of all, you can use, a friend and say, hey, is this keeping you engaged? Like, what can I do better? But when it comes to length of videos, the first few videos I remember making for like a college class, they're like, all right, you need to keep it between 2 and 4 minutes. And it's like, okay, it's like the definition of the time frame that you're giving your audience member to stay engaged. And I always thought that was, very curious. And it's like, okay, well, I can understand like audience retention and whatnot, but really it was to try to say, all right, statistically, you only have like 2 to 5 minutes to get your message across, and you need to stick within that to be successful. But as time's gone on, and as I'm sure that, if you've been on, YouTube recently, there is a lot of content that is now over 10 minutes. And I think a lot of that goes to the algorithm of YouTube. People will get more viewership, I think, if if you're keeping your audience retained longer. So I mean, there's part of that algorithm there that people want to hit, but really it is that people who come to you on, say, a YouTube platform, they're willing to be a captive audience. And so they will watch you. So really length, is something to consider as far as like, yeah, I can make this video longer because it's very important information. My audiences come to me, so I can roll on it a bit longer. But if I'm creating an ad, things need to go quick. You need to bring that person to your webpage, or you need to bring that person in, and you need to give them the most important information up front so that their interest gets piqued and they become a new audience member.
Totally.
Yeah. So,
well, should we talk about what success doesn't mean a little bit? So in defining success, yeah. I think something that's really fascinating is that people, we mentioned about people may look at your following, judge a book by its cover, and be like, hey, they have 1 million followers. That means they have $1 million business or a multi-million-dollar business. And that's not necessarily the case. You can have a few hundred, a few thousand followers and still have a very successful business. And so proof is not in the number, that vanity number. And the same thing goes with your view count. The success of your video is not entirely dependent on how many views you have. Because those views could be from all of the wrong people, the people who are not going to buy. It could be from all your family members who are like, oh, that's so nice. Little Jimmy is working on his business. He's got this great video, or Sally. And it's always funny to like, I always kind of laugh at myself. Yeah, and you got to start somewhere. It's always funny though. Like, I hope that our moms keep on liking and engaging with our content. They're never going to buy what we offer, but like that's the hope, right? Is like we can still stay relevant enough to our family and friends, but it goes far beyond that. You want to make sure that those who are actually watching and consuming are then responding to the message. Because the ultimate success of your video is not through the views, but it's through the click-throughs. It's through the purchases of your products and your services. And so having the focus on the quality over the quantity is important. By all means, like, get as many views, try to go for the viral, and come up with those creative ideas, as long as the message resonates. But don't get disheartened if the view count seems a little bit lower, but the engagement and the click-throughs and the purchases are higher and at the level that you planned for from the beginning.
Definitely. Just like you check a math problem and you go back to the beginning, you can say, hey, I've outlined these goals before I started these videos. I'm now making, I'm now hitting these goals. So, I mean, really successful videos is what you've defined them to be, and for them to be as useful as the intention. So yeah, like as long as, the view count may not really matter so much. May not matter if something goes viral or not. You really is it being successful in the way that you've defined that, and is it working for you? So, well, that's kind of it, Dallin. Unless you have anything else to add,
I have a few more things to add real quick, and then we can wrap up.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the importance of testing and distribution. And so to break those down a little bit further is to test how successful your video is. You need to be able to share it directly with the perfect audience who would actually buy what you're trying to sell. Obviously, if you're not trying to sell hard and it's just a helpful YouTube video that is meant to just build your audience of buyers, then you also need to test material with them. So it's kind of like a comedian. A comedian, I guarantee, and what I've heard from all these stories, do so many live stand-up shows and test so many jokes material and see what their live audience responds to. And then they take those particular jokes and stories and they make that as a part of their main stand-up routine. And the same thing with their videos is figure out what works, what doesn't, take what works and use that. And so that's kind of that testing phase, is interact with your audience to see what is working. And that's even our approach here with the show is like, let us know, is this resonating with you? Are you responding to it? And if you're not, we'll keep putting out the value we feel like is most beneficial to you. And then we'll also test and optimize. And when you get to the point of distribution is once you learn what is working, then definitely do put advertising money behind it. And work with different influencers, work with media outlets, get press releases done, and develop those relationships from the distribution standpoint to cause things to go more viral. Because oftentimes the virality happens when people share it just because they want to, think it's funny, or they like it, they think it's relevant, or it gets picked up and they see it in some kind of article on a publication or a website elsewhere. And so there's definitely there's add-ons, so to speak, to make videos even more successful beyond the bare bones foundation of, are people engaging? Are they responding to it? Are they buying from it? And so that really, to us and to all of you business builders out there, you visionaries, is the recipe for success, is the focus on, is this creating the impact that I initially planned for it to create? It's all with that initial intention of like, what do I want this video to do? What's the purpose? So hopefully this was helpful. And we do want to invite you to this incredible opportunity, this documentary series that we are producing. You can go to videosupply.com/series. It's a 5-part documentary series called Visionaries: From Invisible to Unforgettable. And you can discover the main transformations and shifts that you need to make in order to transform your business from being invisible, the best kept secret, unseen and unheard, to unforgettable, and that visionary brand builder that you are. And so you can go to videosupply.com/series to take part in that. And that is our purpose. That is our call to action for this episode, is to invite you to join and get first notified with this upcoming documentary series.
Definitely. All right, Dallin. Well, hey, thanks for joining today. And yeah, go to that site, and we'll see you guys soon. I think we should cover some of those things you talked about, Dallin. Like maybe in the next episodes we'll talk about video distribution, testing, things like that. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to.